The first tip is to get into ketosis gradually. I'm not a big fan of the cold turkey approach because if you do, you're gonna feel awful. And a lot of people will just give up before they experience all the amazing benefits. So I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I could take 100 people, and 98 out of those 100 people, I could get into the great land of ketosis with no side effects with 2 easy steps. And here are those 2 easy steps. Number 1 step is to gradually decrease your carbohydrates until eventually you're eating no more than 50 total grams of carbs for the day. The average American is eating about 300 to 400 grams of carbs per day. So on day 1, take your 300 grams of carbs per day, drop it to 250. On day 2, drop it to 200 and keep doing that until you get to no more than 50 total grams of carbs for the day. And those carbs you are having for the day, make sure they come from green leafy vegetables. One of my favorite apps to track your carbohydrate intake is Cronometer, and you can learn about them by going to cronometer.com/ketocamp. We'll drop a link down below. That's the first tip. The second tip is to follow the 2-2-2-2 rule. This is a rule I got from my mentor, Dr. Pompa, and I wrote about it in my latest book, Keto Flex. Every day during these first 7 days to get your body burning fat instead of sugar, every day you want to follow this 2-2-2-2 rule. Here's how it works. Consume on a daily basis for the first 7 days 2 tablespoons of avocado oil or olive oil, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil or MCT oil, 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter and grass-fed ghee, and then 2 teaspoons of sea salt. I know what you're thinking. Do I have all of this in one sitting? No, it's throughout the entire day. What this is gonna do is teach your body to start utilizing fatty acids for fuel. As you're doing this 2-2-2-2 rule and lowering your carb intake, you're lowering glucose, but then you're introducing these healthy fats. Now your body goes from seeing all the glucose that was being burned and it says, oh, look at all this dietary healthy fat. Let's go burn that. And in 7 days, you will be in the great land of ketosis with no symptoms. No keto flu, which is really carbohydrate withdrawal symptoms, none of that. So let's make that transition. That's your first step. The second tip, this is very important, not just for keto beginners, but anybody doing keto. Eat stable fats and stay away from unstable fats. Let's talk about unstable fats. They're called polyunsaturated fatty acids, PUFAs for short. I love what Dr. Kate Shanahan said on the Keto Camp podcast, PUFAs go poof. This is because if you look at the biochemical structure of polyunsaturated fatty acids, the word poly means many. That means these fats have many double bonds. The more double bonds, the more opportunity these fats have to attract oxygen and oxidize. You've heard of that word oxidation. It is inflammation. It's like biting into an apple and leaving it on the counter. Coming back later, it turns brown. That's oxidation. And this is what these fats could do to your body at the cellular level. When I interviewed Dr. Kay Shanahan and Brian Peskin, MIT researcher, they both agreed that these bad fats were worse than smoking cigarettes. I would say they're worse than consuming sugar because at least your body could burn sugar by being active. You can't burn these fats. They stick around for weeks to months, and it's estimated that linoleic acid, which is omega-6, a PUFA, will stick around in your cells for 4 years, meaning the half-life of these bad fats is about 2 years. What are these unstable fats? Here is a list of the 8 fats you want to avoid as much as possible. We have 3 C's, canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil. We have 3 S's, sunflower oil, soybean oil, safflower oil. And then we have 2 others, rice bran oil and grapeseed oil. Do an audit. Make sure these fats are not in your food. They're not in your pantry. When you're going to the restaurants, you're asking the waiter, the waitress, what oils they cook with, and make sure it's not these bad fats. The healthier, stable fats are the ones that I already listed in that 2-2-2-2 rule. They include avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, grass-fed ghee, duck fat, and if you could get a high-quality lard, that is also great. Before I get to the other tips for keto, I wanted to introduce myself. I forgot to do that. My name is Ben Azadi. I'm the best-selling author of 4 books and the founder of Keto Camp. Here at Keto Camp, we're on a mission to educate and to inspire 1 billion people. Third tip is once you become fat adapted, meaning you're in ketosis. And you could verify that with a ketone meter that looks at blood ketones, make sure it's 0.5 or higher. That means you're fat adapted. Then pair intermittent fasting with keto. I love intermittent fasting with keto as a great 1-2 punch. They both do a great job at lowering insulin, but autophagy is occurring now with the intermittent fasting. Autophagy is where your body is recycling damaged cells, and also you have this amazing gut repairing benefit from fasting. So once you're comfortable and you're in ketosis, then pair an 18-6 daily intermittent fasting schedule with your ketogenic diet. How that works is 18 hours out of a 24-hour period, you're in the fasted state. You're having water, you're having sea salt, you're having your body fat. Then you have a 6-hour eating window. I like that window to be between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. where you have 2 keto-friendly meals during that 6-hour eating window. That right there is one of the best schedules for you to follow on keto. The next tip is to make sure you're mastering your stress and your sleep. Look, I've taken thousands of students through my Keto Camp Academy, and those who get amazing results really practice what I'm going to teach you here. Sleep is imperative to repairing your body, burning fat, and enhancing your keto and fasting results. If you're not getting at least 7 hours of quality sleep, work on that right now. And then when we talk about mental emotional stress, which is huge these days, we want to make sure we're mastering our stress levels too. Two of the biggest healers that we have available to us right now is gratitude and self-love. Now, before you leave, because you're thinking I'm getting a little woo-woo here, we'll talk about the science real quick. But gratitude, vitamin G, is the most powerful vitamin you could ever take. What you appreciate starts to appreciate. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activation system, RAS, and whatever you feed it, you start to see more of. So if you're feeding your brain with gratitude, you're going to see more things to be grateful for, and your body will actually begin to heal. And then we have self-love. I am a big fan of controlling our thoughts. The average human being is thinking 60,000 thoughts every single day. And it's estimated that 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts from the day before, and they're typically negative thoughts. They're what I call stinking thinking. And if your thinking is stinking, your dreams are shrinking. So start to do affirmations. Start to surround yourself with people who are going to inspire you. Control the thoughts, practice gratitude, and then keto will work 10 times to 100 times better. The fifth tip, and then I have a bonus, but the fifth tip is to rotate the keto foods that you're eating. And if you're practicing fasting, rotate your fasting schedule. One of the most common reasons why somebody hits a keto stall, whether it's weight loss or just they're not getting the benefits they once had, is they keep eating the same keto foods or practicing the same intermittent fasting schedule. We always want to mix things up, eat different foods, flex in and out of ketosis, change your fasting schedule. Adaptation is the key here. When you do the same workout in the gym day after day, week after week, month after month, you'll begin to hit a plateau. Same thing with keto. We want to eat different foods to give different bacteria to the gut. The gut has to adapt to that bacteria. And then fasting, of course, it's like throwing a new workout into the routine, forces your body to adapt and helps you to continue to get results. So make sure you're changing up the routine on a consistent basis. The bonus tip is to make sure your environment is supporting you. We become our environment. If you're hanging around 5 people who are telling you you're doing that keto thing, that's a fad. You're crazy. You're gonna have a heart attack. Fasting, oh my gosh, you're going to starve yourself. What are you doing? You're hurting yourself. It's gonna be very difficult for you to make the changes that are going to yield you the results that are gonna last if your environment is toxic. So I encourage you to do an activity where you could do this right now. Grab a blank piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the right side, put people in your life that are charging you up. We call them chargers. And write down every single person who supports you and uplifts you. On the left side of that piece of paper, write down the drainers, people that are not supporting you, that you feel drained after having a conversation with. Do that audit and then spend more time with the people on the right, the chargers, versus the people on the left, the drainers. There was a very fascinating study done that really shows how your environment molds you. They put hundreds of fleas in a jar and closed the lid on that jar. Several hours later, they removed the jar, but the fleas were so conditioned by the environment the fleas were still flying in the same pattern. Even though the jar was removed, they could fly away, but they have been conditioned by their environment to believe you could only fly in a certain pattern. Not only that, the fleas had offspring, and the offspring flew in the same pattern. That's a perfect example of how your environment molds you. So change your environment, change your thoughts, change your life, and you could do this. I support you. Keep showing up for these videos here at Keto Camp. We'll continue releasing content for you. If this video was valuable to you, please share it with somebody, hit the thumbs up button, and let me know what your biggest takeaway was down in the comment section below. If you haven't watched my 10-part series on keto, click the screen right there, watch the 10-part series, and be blown away on how to do this the right way. I'll see you in that next video.